Right then, Rich, the end of another season. Welcome to Wrexham Season 2. Over and out. The clicker, what do they call that? The clacker? I don't know what it is when they when directors and runners have those things. But that has been hit, the board for the final time. Season 2, Welcome to Wrexham, is over. Up the Town, question mark, was the finale. We wait so long for it, Rich, and we live through the team, vicariously. We go to every game, or we go to as many games as we can. We watch these players week in, week out. We watch the results. And yet there's just something about watching it back in a more cinematic style. And it was a fitting end. We knew what the ending was going to be. I'm very envious of the people who got to live it for the first time that way, from a million miles away. It was brilliant. It is brilliant. It's coming back for season 3. That was a big announcement this week. There will be season 3 of Welcome to Wrexham out in spring 2024. Firstly, what did you make of it, mate, as a second season?
I thought it's brilliant again. I mean, obviously we're going to be a bit biased as Wrexham supporters ourselves, and we will digest and divulge anything that has Wrexham in the headline, really, and give it a chance. But I think we were quite critical of it when it came out as season 2, and we said, that the pacing was a bit weird. Some of the episodes didn't really flow that properly, but once the football sort of took centre stage again, as good as it is at telling these human stories, and it's got so much more to it than just being a football docu-series. I do think that the football itself is the flowing narrative, and then you've got all these other branches that come off it, and they're brilliant. You look at sort of the Yeovil game and stuff which piece together the Anthony Ford sort of storyline earlier in the series. You look at the finale where you go back to season 1 and you're told about Jordan Davis's sort of difficult situations he's had at home, and then it sort of has this. Football writes itself, doesn't it, to a degree? And what is so beautiful about sport is it is so unpredictable and unbelievable at times that you almost just need to let the football do the talking itself, and then you add little extra bits to the side of it. And I think that by the end, that is what Welcome to Wrexham was doing. The last sort of few weeks of episodes were phenomenal. They were gut wrenching, they were heartwarming. They told you personal tales. They just gave you so much more than just sport, but ultimately as well, the sport was a driving factor and was brilliant as well. So yeah, I loved it, and I think lots of people who don't maybe even care for football, particularly don't even necessarily care for Wrexham, will have enjoyed it for what it is. And you look at that finale episode. For us, it's you will watch that forever, because I literally could not envisage Wrexham getting promoted again to the Football League. I couldn't picture it in my head. I didn't know what those scenes looked like, because the last time Wrexham had been promoted, I wasn't even 10 years old, and I wasn't going to football regularly because that just wasn't on my radar. And now it's not only happening, but it's being documented so well, and it's this perfect time
Right.
capsule that will outlive all of us. And it's just so good to see. And you can't put into words unless you've been to Wrexham on a match day, what a experience it is. We've said it's like a spiritual experience. It is a whole
Mm.
culture now watching Wrexham. We've likened it to sort of Wales matches in the past, where they've reimagined, really, and redefined what
Mm.
the identity is around the national team. And now North Wales, Wales in general, is all so much better off for this documentary. And once again, you go back to when it was first announced, and there were real concerns. Two comedy actors doing a documentary about Wrexham. There's going to be loads of cheap gags, loads of cheap laughs at the expense of Wrexham. But instead, they've got our corner, and they're putting us on the map. And we're here to stay. We are here to stay.
Yeah, there was a moment when the episode opens, and I think the song's called "Chasing Down Gold." Now, forgive me, I don't know who the singer of that is. I should have checked, shouldn't I, in my show notes? But it was a beautiful piece of music, just overlaid with fans walking to the ground that day. Rich, that sense of anticipation. You and I were, I think it was were we both in the Mice Gwyn before, outside the sea of red and some flares going off already outside, and just that anticipation. One win and you've won it. And that was it. That was what was in the air. It was a sense of, is this going to be our coronation day? Will we get the celebrations, or will it go down to Torquay? And in the end, we got to celebrate down at Torquay. And Torquay doesn't even make the documentary, which I'm not surprised in the slightest. But the music chasing down gold, and you see the fans walking up, and Manny on the drum, and the kind of the march to the ground beforehand, and you see one older guy who is choked up, and he's like holding back tears of, this is what it means. You really won't quite grasp what it means unless you've just lived through it. And I get that
Yeah,
we've all lived through different experiences, whether that's 1, 2 years, 6 months, 15 years, or 50. You know, the old guy with name Arthur, who was 99 years old, I think, and they showed him at the back of the stand and what it meant to him to finally see his boyhood team get back up. And it was just littered with moments. I thought the final episode of really sort of small moments in the grand scheme of things, but really just beautiful moments that I thought summed up for me why I take so much pride in Wrexham. I mean, seeing Wayne decide to watch the game in the turf rather than in the ground with his family, rather than in the ground with everyone else, to be with his family in the turf and to be with his wife. And when Mullin scores the third goal for us, his second goal, you see him just turn to his wife Shelley and give her a massive hug, and it's just kind of like everyone's celebrating around them, just them two, and you think, you know what, that's a really nice moment. You know, that is
yeah,
you've put a lot into that every match day, and you know we don't need to get into all the kind of troubles that they've had recently in terms of someone breaking into their marquee and a fire and still working to get it open for the Gillingham game, and you know, a real institution in the community. And then you see the bus parade at the very, very end, and Jordan Davis wasn't on that bus parade because that was the due date of Kelsey and baby Harlow. And you see Phil Parkinson pointing out to the camera, to the cameraman, that's Jordan Davis on the route, and you see him smile like we've not seen Parky smile many times. He's very stoic, isn't he, as a guy, and I think he's brilliant for us, and we gave him his flowers last week on the episode and played out that speech from the awards dinner. He was smiling like a bloke who was looking at his son.
yeah.
And that sounds cliche, maybe corny, but genuinely, I watched that and I put a tweet out saying, what were your favourite moments? And a few people came back with that because it was a smile you don't see very often from Phil Parkinson. And it
And
was
again,
one
that
to
is
say,
one of those moments
yeah,
for me. I think the two best moments, like I said, are that and Ryan's speech after Sheffield United, which aren't rehearsed. There's nothing set up about them. It is just spontaneity and raw emotion in both of them, and that's what you get. These might be sort of Hollywood stars, and there might be a lot of you can tell sometimes watching the documentary. We've talked about the ad placements. There's a lot of it that's sort of set up, and some of the, me just because it's who I am. I get pedantic when I see the wrong highlights being shown just for the narrative, or a voiceover that's obviously done post production because that makes it flow better. I get those from a documentary making point of view, but they always irk me because I like, that's just who
because
I
you're
am.
pedantic. That's who you
Because I'm
are.
pedantic. Yeah, that's true. I've been called worse. But then you also get, you know, for me, the best moments are those just raw moments that aren't scripted. They're not set up. They just happen. And that is just what's so beautiful about it. Like we said, Welcome to Wrexham would be an incredible TV series, even if we kind of hadn't gone up. But the sport and the way that it happened, and the tale, the Notts County game, for example, you look at the cup run, the documentary team had no input on any of that because it just happened, and that is what's so brilliant about it. But it's also brilliantly told and put over, and I think it says a lot as well that Welcome to Wrexham isn't just loved by us, but the fact it has cracked North America and it has been so well received, and it's been so well received by lots of rival fans who have given it a chance. I know lots of people would be, it's Wrexham, F off, we ain't gonna watch that. But the fact that it's been so well received proves that they've done so much right about it, because even though it's Rob and Ryan, like we said, there was so much room for it to be really cheesy, for no one to really care, and for it to not come across on those human interest stories, and for it not to be hard hitting. It could have just been a comedy spoof series that no one really cares about, but it's just really moving and just brilliant.
Rich, I want you to think. I'm going to give you some thinking time because I'm going to read out what some have sent us. But think of some of the highlights from season two, maybe two or three. We both agree that, for me, I tweeted out that Ryan's speech after Sheffield United was my favourite moment of season two. I thought that was exactly word perfect what any fan would have said if they'd have had the same opportunity. So you have a think of a couple of moments that you really liked. I put a call out, said it's the end of season two. What were your highlights? One person just put, cannot pick just one, so many. But John, who is based over in America, he put The Hand of Foz was an extra special episode for me because in the fall of 2020, my friend and I looked at the table and circled that match against Notts County. We decided to fly to the UK for Halifax away, not so good, and Notts at home, and that episode captured our memories perfectly, which I think was great. Current Joy put storytelling of people at their most vulnerable without making it uncomfortable is one of the best parts of Welcome to Wrexham. Albie and Millie's connection, remembering the Gresford disaster, Rosie, Mia, and Lily's story in the women's episode, Anthony Ford and his wife's story, and then Ollie and his father as well. Littered with so many of those ones, Rich. There's another one that says, in the goalkeeping episode, Chomp, Mark Howard, and we should say congratulations to Mark Howard celebrating his graduation today from Staffordshire University, first class honours, which is no mean feat. Mox put in the goalkeeping episode, Chomp was smiling, talking about welcoming Foz in to get Wrexham over the line, team first, etc. And he said all the right things. The camera lingers for a moment and you see disappointment and hurt on his face. Blink and you'll miss it, but it was such a human moment and it only made me love him even more. A couple more. Jamie's put, although not seen the last one yet, the highlight for me was that Hand of Foz episode. It perfectly captured the tension, emotion, and jubilation of that amazing day, closely followed by Rob saying we were living rent-free in Billy Sharp's head. Let me give you one more than Mulberry Red has agreed with us, Rich. Parky seeing Jordan and his newborn all on the parade route, Ryan's speech, all the players now and former being vulnerable and telling their stories. Millie's episode, it was amazing, really. So what have you got for us then in terms of your favourite moments? Because there have been lots of moments, and like you say, before you go, I think we were a bit critical of it at the beginning. It was, I think, a bit of a slow start to the season, but boy, once it really kicked into gear in the FA Cup, it was just up and up and up.
Yeah, I'd also just sort of go on record again and just say it's also the light they've shown on the women's team, and the women's side of the documentary as well was really well done and exceptionally told. And like we said, it would have been very easy just to say, look, we want to make the women's team good, and that's it. You don't follow through with it, but they've given them a real platform and a real worldwide stage. They've given them, again, like you said, maybe not equal billing as such in the documentary episode sort of layout, but obviously they've had dedicated episodes, and we've got to finally see the work they're doing, which we didn't get to see in series one. So I think that's one highlight. I did love the Always Sunny visit and the Anthony Ford goal, and I also love the. You talk about, do Rob and Ryan get it, and you talk about how they learn on the job, and they always talk about squeaky bum time and little words like that. But it's also the fact that they are already well aware that when you go to the toilet during a football game, a goal will happen, something will happen, there will be an event. That is just the nature, and we all have our own little quirks and superstitions when we watch Wrexham, don't we? And you always do little different things, and that is one of them. I've always done that. I mean, I'm almost the opposite. Whereas, and I think this is probably still true to this day, I don't think I've ever at a Wrexham game that I've been to sort of gone to the concourse when the game's been on. I don't think I've ever not been in my seat for like 100% of the match. Do you know what I mean? I've never gone to the toilet during play. I've never gone to the bar during play, and I've never left a Wrexham game early. That is just me. I just have to digest it all, and I'm there.
I have left a game early once for my sins. It was away at Yeovil, of all places. You might remember it was when Rob Lainton just dropped the ball and Courtney Duffus, I think it was, just booted it in. And by the end, I felt the lads had stopped running. So I went outside. And the worst part was, I'll tell you what, the worst part of that was, is that my taxi driver that I'd pre-booked with was a Yeovil season ticket holder. So he didn't even come out till it was over anyway. So I should have just,
endured it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone off tangent here about Welcome to Wrexham, but that's what I'm talking about. It's the way that they've actually, for me, like that is the highlight. For me, the highlight is the fact that they've given it the proper treatment and they haven't treated it as a comedy football series. Yeah, because I think for me, the strands, the actual personal story tales are so moving, and you get to realise that these aren't just robots. These are actual human beings at every level of the club, including Rob and Ryan. They might be superstars, but they are just normal guys.
What I wanted to say was that I think in its very inception, Welcome to Wrexham, it was from the off, as in the Zoom call they had with the Supporters Trust, that was filmed. That was the documentary was from the off. That was going to be part of it. Rob had watched Sunderland Till I Die, was very moved by that. Wrexham was always going to have a documentary as long as they took over. And yet it spawned into so many things in terms of helping the food bank. It's not just, they haven't just come in just on a documentary, got us some nice players, got us up for the benefit of the documentary and then gone. They're doing the Ryan Rodney Reynolds Park Memorial Park.
Yeah.
They've done the food bank. What else have they done? They've done. I'm trying to think of all the charitable things. This week they paid $3,500 to Wrexham Trainer Revival, who'd been ransacked and had loads of stuff nicked, and that was the entire target. I know Stephen Tapp, who owns that, was over the moon, forever in their debt. Basically, he was saying what they've done for Millie and raising awareness of autism. All Ryan wearing Ollie Palmer's clothing range, giving him a viable business, life after football. You shouldn't overlook that. Even wearing Jacob Mendy's clothes, his encore clothing, all these things they do that are just little things, but they all add up into. They just are part of Wrexham. So Welcome to Wrexham now includes those two. You know what I mean? It's not like they come in as day trippers. They are part of the fabric of the area now, because you can just feel they've permeated various areas, got the freedom of the place. They're redeveloping a park. They're rebuilding the stadium that we didn't have the funds to do so
They've got the
before. Delivered
urinal.
promotion. Got the urinal that, God, I wish that if they
It'd be-
bring back
it's
stadium tours.
it's my life dream to use that urinal. I mean, I've probably used it before it was renovated, because we used to do our match commentaries from up there, and obviously it was
Okay, well,
Don Vo's day this week, which
right.
So that was why I probably would, maybe on Don Vo's day I would have used that urinal, which is a touching thought. But yeah, I need to use that before I leave this earth.
Yeah, so I hope that if they do bring back tours, that people can get to go into that aviation gin suite if they bring back stadium tours, because it does seem to be only for the owners and the chairman now, and I know it features quite regularly in the dock. So yeah, Welcome to Wrexham. I thought in the end, a couple of highlights from me, then extras. Seeing Lily talk about her dad was very emotional when she looked at the crowd of where he used to sit. I thought that was really quite a touching moment. The Always Sunny lot, seeing Charlie Day. I know that was already out there, but seeing Charlie Day race the players, Ollie Palmer and co, I thought that was brilliant. And him getting upset, just realizing what it meant to Rob, was proper friendship there. And yeah, I'll go back to it. Just the FA Cup run, the Zoom call after Coventry, when Rob and Ryan are at home, and you've got Sean and Humphrey on the concourse in Coventry, and I think back to watching that alongside you, and just the emotion of that day, the emotion of that cup run, and that's why I'm really desperate to do
what
it
I
again.
love about that cup run as well is, almost being cynical, Rob and Ryan didn't go to that game. They've obviously got other commitments to lead very busy lifestyles. But after watching that, Ryan was like, right, I need to be there for Sheffield United at home. There is not a chance I'm missing this, just in case I miss more scenes like that. And like you say, that then spawns the chat after the game. But yeah, roll on season 3. And I suppose the news on season 3 as well, Nate, is that the episodes are due to be released as early as next spring, the first batch of them at least, and that the end of the season stuff could be released as early as next summer as well. So for those of you who, obviously anyone who's watching it, but maybe some of you who might not be up to date with the scores anyway, you won't have to wait as long. And I guess that's just a much more sensible way. It's a huge effort and it takes a lot of work to be able to get episodes out that quickly, not only to have them edited, but to be able to tell a story. And obviously you don't have the season ends, so some narratives might not be as obvious to sort of push through the whole series. But yeah, you don't have to wait that long for Welcome to Wrexham Part 3, Season 3. And then I suppose the question, Nath, how many more years? How many more series?
Well, look, I think they've probably seen the goals flying in, 5 here, 6 here, 10 in that 1 and 5 all, and they've probably thought, well, we've got enough footage to go again already. We can probably just release season 3 already. I think it is a step in the right direction, because I don't know, let's just say people have watched Welcome to Wrexham season 2, and I know lots of people who don't follow football have watched it and absolutely love it. They've missed the first, 18 games of the season or 17 games of the season, and so they're already playing catch up. I think if you can get it out before a new season starts, Rich, you've got total buy-in then, in terms of merchandise, in terms of the tour, in terms of your iFollow passes and your audio passes, and just a way to
I think that's
grow
the
club
hook
even further.
For me, I think that's the hook, isn't it? That you could get people watching it again next spring and they'll be really invested. And then they Google Wrexham and they're like, oh, they play this weekend. How do I watch that? And it means you get this real-time sort of feedback, and people can watch the show while simultaneously watching that same series, basically, because they're watching it as it happens. It's not like, because you could watch season 1 of Welcome to Wrexham and one of your favourite characters might not be at the team anymore. Whereas by watching season 3, it will still be very much that same product. They'll be wearing the same kit. It will still be the same season. And the story won't even be finished by the time they're starting to watch season 3, which is so exciting. So, yeah, interested to see how it materializes, I suppose.
Yeah, and look, get in touch with us, RobRyanRed at gmail.com, RobRyanRed across all the socials. Let us know your favourite moment. If we haven't managed to read yours out, I'm really sorry so far, but do get in touch. I love reading them. We both love reading them. And get in touch on email, RobRyanRed at gmail.com. If you want to tell us how many seasons you think Welcome to Wrexham could run, and if you're watching this on YouTube, let us know in the comments below. How many seasons do you think Wrexham will get of their documentary series? It's, who knows? I'm going to say plenty, Rich. I'm not even going to put a number on it. I'm going to say plenty of seasons yet to come. So, yeah, let us know.